I've spent the off-season getting my 1992 Mustang GT ready to get back out on an autocross course. The plan was to make the car as capable as possible without cutting it up. This series has showcased the weight reduction mods, suspension upgrades, tires and brake pads I chose to get the most out of the improvements I made to the car over the years. This video covers the final reveal and the first results of the 2020 season. Here's how ThoroughbRED turned out. After all the mods, the car looks pretty much exactly the same as it did when I started this project. My Fox body may not have any added aesthetic flair, but that's fine with me. The whole point of this project was to keep all that factory Ford metal unchanged. While it may look like every other red 1992 Mustang GT on the planet, it's what's underneath that separates it from the herd. But can a solid rear axle Mustang without coilovers or a K-member running 245 tires still compete in a class like Cam T, where just about everyone will have more suspension mods and wider tires? As I pull up to the starting line for the first event of the season, I'm actually nervous. The car hasn't been autocrossed in 4 years. Aside from driving cars for novices, I haven't consistently driven a solid rear-axle car for 2 seasons. The last competition autocross run I made was in an IRS-swapped New Edge with 315 tires on all 4 corners. A completely different beast. I'm up against 2 other cars in Cam T, but I also want to see how ThoroughbRED stacks up against the 6 newer cars in Cam C. It's about 60 degrees and the course is dry. And if I attack it correctly, the course is fast. Looking out at the sweeper, thinking about my line through the course as I slide the shifter into first gear, my nerves subside. Because there's nowhere else I'd rather be. This moment is why I love building Mustangs. The moment expectations are at the mercy of execution. In less than a minute, I'll know if the work I've done and the parts I've chosen have created a car to contend with. And my competition will know it too. Here's my first run. .053. Not bad for a first run relative to my competition, but I could definitely go faster just about everywhere on course. Because I was working my way up to the limit of rear-end grip, I wasn't on the gas as long as I should have been, and I was using the brakes way too often. But one thing was abundantly clear. The changes I made in the off-season made the car exponentially better out on course. The turn-in is immediate. The composure during corner entry is incredible. The steering response in transitions is crisp and the feedback is precise. The car has a poise it never had before. The weight reduction and mass centralization mods, paired with the dialed-in adjustable suspension, gave me the confidence to keep pushing the car. For my 4th run, I dropped a pound of pressure out of my tires to get a little more grip, and it ended up being my fastest. 1.251. That's 1.8 seconds faster. I stayed on the gas longer everywhere I could, knowing the improved bite of the brake pads would let me decrease my braking zones into tight elements. I eliminated braking in the lane change, and I trusted the car to do what I asked it to do. I was pretty amazed by the amount of grip I had out there. I pushed the car harder than I thought I could with 245 tires. But I'm 100% certain that there's more in this car. And you can see why in this exterior video. The car is really composed. There's just enough body roll, no understeer, no oversteer. The run looks serene. A little too serene. I definitely could have gone harder in the slalom on the backside of the course, and I probably could have set up for the fast left turn after the shed with throttle braking instead of using the brake pedal. But did I leave enough time out there for my Cam T competition to beat me? Here's how Thoroughbred did. First place in Cam T by 0.7 of a second. The car was better than I thought it would be. It was better than a lot of people thought it would be. But how did it compare to more modern cars in Cam C? Based on raw time, it was faster than 3 out of the 6 Cam C cars. And I was about 1.6 seconds behind first place. I'm not directly competing with Cam C cars, but I want my old horse to teach those new ones to respect their elders. I can't wait to see what Thoroughbred can do once I've had more seat time. I've owned this car for nearly 3 decades. And from the first minute, it's always been more than mere transportation. When I introduced this series, I said that when I was a teenager, this car represented power at my fingertips when I felt powerless, control when life felt out of control. It was a way to relieve stress one twisty backroad mile at a time, and when the world felt like it was falling apart around me, fixing this car gave me hope that anything could be put back together. All of that still holds true today. Perhaps now more than ever. I really appreciate the fact that so many people have followed along as I set out to prove it's possible to make a Fox Body a competitive autocross car without cutting up a classic. Thoroughbred is off to a good start, but there's a lot more competition out there. And a lot more to prove.